Hello there, and welcome to this amazing tutorial. In this video we are going to cover SAT practice test number 1's no calculator section. We're going to solve the whole thing, but before we begin, I want you to practice with me. So whenever I open a question, try to solve it by yourself first, and then watch my solution and try to compare your solution and your answers to mine. No calculator section contains 20 questions and 25 minutes will be given to you on the real exam. Here is a reference of all the equations and the relations you need for the test. Let's start from the first question. Stop the video before each question and try to solve all those questions by yourself before I explain it to you. If x minus 1 over 3 is equal to k and k is equal to 3, what is the value of x? Well, this is a simple equation problem, so let's substitute k into this equation. X minus 1 divided by 3 is equal to 3. Now let's multiply both sides by 3, so times 3 times 3. Well, these 3's cancel, and we get x minus 1 is equal to 3 times 3, which is 9. Now we can throw negative 1 to the other side, and we get x is equal to 9 plus 1, or 10. So 10 is the correct answer for this question. Let's move on. Try to solve this by yourself. Well, in imaginary number problems, they always give you what I is. I, the imaginary number, is equal to square root of negative 1. But it's not really necessary to know for this question. In this question, we just have to simplify or sum this expression right here. What you have to know is, these are two complex numbers. They have real parts like 7 and negative 8, and complex parts like 3i and 9i. When you want to sum it up, you treat the constants just like you treat them in polynomials. So you sum 7 and negative 8 and you get negative 1. And then you sum the complex or the imaginary part separately. So 3i plus 9i is equal to 12i. So the answer to this question is negative 1 plus 12i, which is A. Now let's move on. Try to solve this. On Saturday afternoon, Armand sent M text messages each hour for 5 hours, and Tyrone sent P text messages each hour for 4 hours. Which of the following represents the total number of messages sent by Armand and Tyrone on Saturday afternoon? Well, we know that Armand sent M messages for 5 hours, so let's multiply 5 times M. This will give the amount of messages Armand sent. Now let's see how many messages Tyrone sent. He sent P messages each hour for 4 hours. So we need to sum the total by 4 times P. And this will give us the total amount of messages these guys sent over that day. Therefore, the answer is C. Now let's move on to the next question. Katie is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week, she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. The number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day can be estimated with the equation P is equal to 108 minus 23D. Now guys, if you look closely here, you will see that this is a linear equation with a negative slope. So we can actually represent it on an xy plane, which is actually not xy but D versus P plane. We can express it like this, where the y-intercept is 108. And the slope right here is actually m is equal to negative 23. Okay, so this is our linear relationship with a negative slope. So it says, what is the meaning of the value 108 in this equation? As I have already told you, 108 is actually the y-intercept or the initial value in this equation, since it is a constant number. So if we think of the vertical axis as the number of phones, and if we think about the horizontal axis as the number of days left in that week, then in the beginning of the week, number of phones is equal to that y-intercept or that constant number, which is 108. Therefore, 108 is actually the amount of phones given to Katie at the beginning of each week. So let's read the answers now. A. Katie will complete the repairs within 108 days. Well, that makes no sense. B. Katie starts each week with 108 phones to fix. Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. B is the correct answer. Now let's move on to the next question. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? Well, this is a simplification problem. All we need to do here is add the like terms and simplify the expression. So let's first of all spread this negative sign across the expression on the right. Negative times negative x squared times y will give us positive x squared times y. Then negative sign times 3x y squared will give us negative 3x y squared, and negative times negative 3y squared will give us positive 3y squared. Now let's sum the like terms. Well, x squared times y and x squared times y will sum up, and they will give us 2x squared y. So we can cross them out. Now 5xy squared minus 3xy squared will give us positive 2xy squared. So we can cross them out as well, and negative 3y squared plus 3y squared will just cancel out. So the final expression is this. Therefore, choice C is the correct one. Now let's move on to the next question. A pediatrician uses the model above to estimate the height h of a boy in inches in terms of the boy's age a in years between the ages of 2 and 5. Well, for kids between the ages of 2 and 5, especially for the boys, the male kids, right, the pediatrician can estimate their height using this equation. Well, a is actually their age in years. Based on the model, what is the estimated increase in inches of a boy's height each year? Guys, when we talk about increase or decrease for linear relationships, when they ask you to find the increase or decrease or a rate of change, you have to think about the slope. You have to immediately think about the slope, because the slope tells you how much something is increasing or how much it's actually decreasing. So slope is what you have to think about. Now in this equation, let's recall the linear equations are written in the form y is equal to mx plus b, where b is a constant, where here 28.6 is a constant, and m is the slope, where 3 is the slope. Alright, and x is a, the age, and y is h, the height. So therefore slope is 3. M is equal to 3, right? So that's your rate of change, and that line would look something like this. Therefore, boy's height increases by 3 inches every single year. 3 is the correct answer. Now let's move on. The formula above gives the monthly payment M needed to pay off a loan of P dollars at R% annual interest over N months. Well, this equation right here, whenever you see such problems, when you look at the answers and they all look very confusing, that just means you will have to rearrange something. Now let's try to rearrange this expression right here in terms of M, R, and N. That means let's solve for P. You see right here, P is a multiple, alright? Now we need to multiply both sides by this thing, right, to get it cancelled out. So P is equal to M multiplied by this whole thing, which is 1 plus R over 1200 to the power of N all minus 1. And then we will need to divide everything here by this. So R over 1200 on the denominator, all multiplied by 1 plus R over 1200 to the power of N. Now we have solved for P. So what we did is we just moved everything at the bottom to the top, and we put everything at the top to the bottom right next to M. Alright, so M is multiplied by that. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Now let's move on to the next question. If A over B is equal to 2, what is the value of 4B over A? Well guys, let's first of all take a look right here. A over B is equal to 2, which is actually equal to 2 divided by 1, since 2 divided by 1 is 2. Now let's flip everything here, and therefore we will have to flip everything here. B over A is equal to 1 over 2. Now, just like here, let's multiply everything by 4. So if I multiply the left hand side by 4, I will have to multiply the right hand side by 4 as well. So 4B over A is equal to 4 times 1 over 2, which is actually equal to 2. Therefore, 4B over A is 2. There is also another way to solve it, but this one is the shortest version. Now let's move on to the next question. What is the solution x comma y to the system of equations above? Now guys, you can do many things right here, and I will use the substitution method. Now, if you watched my SAT math course, you know that there's 3 ways of solving systems of linear equations. You could either graph them, you could also use elimination method, or you could use substitution method. Now let me quickly use a substitution method because it would be quite easy here. So let me first solve for x from this equation right here. Let me throw x to the other side and 19 to the other side. So 2y plus 19 is equal to x. This is what I get. Now let me plug this x right here. Instead of x, I will say 3 times 2y plus 19 plus 4y is all equal to negative 23. Now let me spread this 3 inside the parentheses. 6y plus 57 plus 4y is equal to negative 23. And let me simplify everything further. 6y plus 4y gives you 10y, and 10y is equal to negative 23 minus 57, which gives you negative 80. Now you can simplify everything by dividing both sides by 10. So let's divide both sides by 10. Y is equal to negative 80 divided by 10, which is negative 8. Now we have found y. Y is equal to negative 8. Now take a look at the answers. Right here you only have one choice where y is equal to negative 8. Therefore you don't have to solve any further, and so B is the correct answer. And if you want to make sure that B is the correct answer, just in case, well, plug in 3 and negative 8 into either one of these equations right here. So let's plug 3 and negative 8 right here. 2 times negative 8 minus 3 is equal to negative 19. Is that correct? Well, negative 16 minus 3 is equal to negative 19. So that's perfectly correct. Therefore, this is a solution to this equation. Now, if you want to make sure that you have satisfied the system of equations, you can also plug this into this equation and you will see that it's also satisfied. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. For the function g defined above, a is a constant and g of 4 is equal to 8. What is the value of g of negative 4? Guys, first of all, in order to understand what the value of g of negative 4 is, we need to find the unknown, which is a. Let's plug 4 instead of x and 8 instead of g of x, since g of 4 is equal to 8. So 8 is equal to a times 4 squared, which is actually x squared, plus 24. We know that 4 squared is equal to 16, so 8 is equal to 16a plus 24. And by rearranging this equation, we get 16a is equal to negative 16. So a is equal to negative 1. Now we can plug this right back into the original equation, and we will get g of x is equal to negative x squared plus 24. Now guys, we're asked for g of negative 4, so plug negative 4 instead of x squared. You will get g of negative 4 is equal to negative 4 squared plus 24, which is equal to negative 16 plus 24, which is equal to 8. So A is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next problem. In the equations above, B and C represent the price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken respectively. So this is for beef and this is for chicken. So X weeks after July 1st during last summer. Well guys, at this point this is just trying to confuse you, alright? So you have two equations right here. One of them is for beef, the other one is for the price of chicken. Now the question starts right here. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken? Okay, so we need to understand what was the price of beef when it was equal to the price of chicken. Guys, in order to be able to solve this question, we need to equate these two, because we are interested in the case where those two are equal. So let's equate them. 2.35 plus 0.25x is equal to 1.75 plus 0.4x. Now we need to solve for x. So let's get the like terms on one side. 2.35 minus 1.75 is equal to 0.4x minus 0.25x. And finally, 0.6 is equal to 0.15x. So x is equal to 0.6 over 0.15, which is equal to 4. Okay, so x is equal to 4. Now, on the week or the day when the price of beef is equal to price of chicken, x must be equal to 4. So let's plug it in either of those equations, alright? Either the top one or the bottom one, alright? Let me plug it to the top one. B, or the price of beef, when it was equal to the price of chicken, is equal to 2.35 plus 0.35 times 4. I plugged 4 instead of x. Now B is equal to, well, 2.35 plus 1, which is 3.35. So that is the price of your beef, and that is the same price as the price of chicken. Therefore, D is the correct answer. Let's move to the next problem. A line in the xy plane passes through the origin and has a slope of 1 over 7. Which of the following points lie on this line? Guys, if this line passes through the origin, it looks something like this, right? Something like this. That means the y-intercept of this line is 0. In other words, if we were to write the equation of this line in the original linear equation form, b, the constant right here, would be equal to 0, because that's the y-intercept. So we just get y is equal to m multiplied by x, where m is the slope. Now the slope is given to us. Y is equal to 1 over 7 multiplied by x, right? And therefore we have found the equation of this line straight away. Now it says which of the following points lie on this line. In order for any of these points to lie on this line physically, that point must satisfy this equation right here. So all we need to do is we need to plug in each one of these, and we need to see if this equation is satisfied. Let's first plug in the choice A. Let's see. 7 is equal to 1 over 7 times 0. Well, this is not correct, therefore A is not the correct answer. Now let's see B. 7 is equal to 1 over 7 times 1. Well, that's also not correct, so this goes away. B is not correct either. Now let's see C. 7 is equal to 1 over 7 times 7. Doesn't make any sense, therefore C is also wrong. And let's try D. 2 is equal to 1 over 7 times 14. Well, this is perfectly correct. 1 over 7 times 14 is 14 divided by 7, and it is equal to 2. Therefore, D is our correct answer. Now, let's move on to the next question. If x is larger than 3, which of the following is equivalent to all of this? Now, before you solve this problem, you have to understand that there is a fraction with fractions, and you first need to simplify the bottom of the main fraction. So what do? Well, we sum up those two expressions. But how do we sum them up? We need common denominators. 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. How can we get the common denominator? All we have to do is we have to multiply all of this by x plus 3 over x plus 3 in this way, and we have to multiply all of this by x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 in this way, x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. What this is going to do for us, it is going to give us common denominators, and as you know, for fractions, in order to sum them up, we need to have common denominators. Just like 2 over 7 plus 5 over 7 is equal to 7 over 7, right? We need to have common denominators right here as well. And this is exactly what we have now. So let's see. X plus 2 times x plus 3 is actually going to give us a common denominator of x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6. It's going to be the denominator at the left hand side and the denominator at the right hand side right here. Two expressions will have the same denominator, therefore I just write them as one denominator. Now, to save time, I also multiply 1 by x plus 3 and 1 by x plus 2. We get x plus 3 plus x plus 2. Now let's simplify this further. On the top we are going to get 2x plus 5, and at the bottom we're going to get x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay? And this is very simple. Now you have to understand that this is equal to that, right? So that is equal to this whole thing. And we also have 1 at the top. So finally we get 1 over 2x plus 5 over x squared plus 5x plus 6. And if you know what this is about, then the rest is very easy. 1 over any expression is just that expression flipped, right? That fraction flipped. So we just take whatever's at the bottom and we flip it. We make the denominator numerator and we make the numerator denominator. So we have to do the same thing right here. We just have to make the denominator numerator, okay? So it becomes x squared plus 5x plus 6, and the denominator becomes 2x plus 5. So this is our simplified version of this expression right here. Therefore, choice B is correct. Now let's move to the next question. If 3x minus y is equal to 12, what is the value of a to the power of x divided by 2 to the power of y? Guys, right here, you should notice one thing. This is not an easy problem, but it has a certain rule to it. First, you have to understand that a to the power of x is actually 2 to the power of 3 all to the power of x, right? And that is equal to 2 to the power of 3x. Now let's plug that in instead of this. 2 to the power of 3x divided by 2 to the power of y. You have to remember that if we're dividing exponents with the same basis, we can just rewrite that as that base to the power of the difference of the powers, right? So this rule is applicable only for same basis. And this is why I converted a to the power of x to 2 to 3x. Right? We have the same basis right here now. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this as 2 to the power of 3x minus y. Now guys, you have to understand that 3x minus y is already given right here, right? 3x minus y is equal to 12. So all of this is equal to 2 to the power of 3x minus y, which is 2 to the power of 12, right? So we've got our answer right here, and the correct answer is A. Now let's move on to the next problem. And this problem is quite easy because we just need to compare the constants on the left side and the right side and use this fact right here. So let's try to do it. ax times bx is abx squared. Ax times 7 is 7ax. 2 times bx is 2bx. And 2 times 7 is 14. So this is all equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 14. Guys, right here we see that 14 is equal to 14. Yeah, that's correct. Now abx squared is equal to 15x squared because these are the only things, right, with a multiple of x squared. So abx squared is equal to 15x squared. Therefore, guys, we can understand that a multiplied by b is equal to 15, okay? And I did that by dividing both sides by x squared disappeared, and ab is equal to 15. So let's write it right here. Now that we're done with these terms, let's just bring them away, and let's look at c times x. Well, we see that the only multiples of x on the left hand side is 7ax plus 2bx, and the only multiple of x on the right hand side is c times x. So we get 7ax plus 2bx must be equal to cx. Again, we're comparing the left side and the right side. Therefore, guys, by simplifying all of this and cancelling x's on the left and the right hand side, we get 7a plus 2b is equal to c. Now let's move a bit further, guys. At this point, you may be confused, you may not know what to do, but let's try everything we have. We know that a times b is equal to 15, so let's say b is equal to 15 over a. Now let's plug that into here. We get 7a plus 2b, which is 2 times 15 over a, which is 30 over a, is equal to c. At this point, guys, I want to guess. Now, what are the multiples of 15? What two things multiply to give me 15? Well, I can say, just assume that a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 5. Well, the reason I'm doing this is because 3 times 5, which is a times b, is equal to 15. Again, this is an assumption, but this is a logical assumption and it will help me to move forward. So let me plug 3 instead of a. 7 times 3 plus 30 divided by 3 is equal to c. And this gives me 21 plus 10 is equal to c. Well, c is equal to 31, right? So one of the possible values of c is 31. Therefore, I leave it like that. And now I can also say what if a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3? Again, a times b, which is 5 times 3, is going to be equal to 15. So that works as well. Let me plug 5 instead of a. 7 times 5, right, plus 30 over 5 is equal to, 7 times 5 is 35. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 35 plus 6, well, that gives me 41, right? So C now is equal to 41. C is equal to 41. So that's the second choice that we get. And therefore, we have found two possible values of C. C is either 41 or C is 31. Therefore, D is the correct answer. Now let's move to the questions without answers. Try to do this one by yourself. It says t is a positive number and t squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Let's see, t squared minus 4 is equal to 0. By rearranging this, we get t squared is equal to 4. And therefore, t is equal to square root of 4, which is actually 2. So the correct answer is t is equal to 2. This is a simple problem, and leaving this on the real exam would be a shame. Now let's move to the next one. This question is related to similar triangles. In my course, you will be able to find everything you need to know about similar triangles and proportions. Let's quickly go over it. They gave us the lengths. The length of AB is 1800 feet. So right here we got 1800. Length of segment EB is 1400 feet. So here we got 1400. Length of segment BD is equal to 700. So here we got 700. And of course, length of segment CD is 800. So right here we got 800. Now guys, if you know how to compare similar triangles, right, you will understand that this triangle right here on the left side is twice bigger than this one. But if you do not know, they gave you a clue in this question. They gave this and this. This side is proportional to this side, right? And therefore, this side is proportional to this side, okay? So let's pay attention. If this side right here is proportional to this side right here, then 1400 is proportional to 700 by a certain number. Let's see, 1400 divided by 700 is equal to 2. This means this triangle is twice smaller than this one. Or in other words, this triangle is twice bigger than this one. So 700 times 2 will give me 1400, and therefore 800 times 2 will give me 1600 right here. Therefore x is equal to 1600. And if you want, you can even find this side right here, because 1800 divided by 2 will give me 900. So this triangle's sides are 2 times smaller than this triangle's sides right here. X is equal to 1600. Let's move to the next question. It is asking us to find the value of x. Now the way we can easily do this is we can solve for y on the top equation. Y is equal to -9 minus x. Now let's plug this y right here. X plus 2 times -9 minus x is equal to -25. Let's open up the parentheses. X minus 18 minus 2x is equal to -25. Negative x is equal to -25 plus 18, which gives me -7. Therefore, x is equal to 7. So this is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next problem. In a right triangle, one angle measures x degrees, where sine of x is equal to 4 over 5. What is cosine 90 degrees minus x? Well guys, you have to know a very important property for the SAT. And the explanation of that property is again given in my online full SAT math course. Now, that property goes like this. Sine of x is going to be equal to cosine of 90 minus x. And cosine of x is equal to sine of 90 minus x, where x and 90 are all in degrees, okay? And this is an important trigonometric property, the proof of which is again given in my video course. But for this problem, you just need to know that if sine of x is equal to 4 over 5, then cosine of 90 minus x has to also be equal to 4 over 5. Therefore, 4 over 5 is the correct answer to this problem. Now let's move on to the next problem. If a is equal to 5 root 2 and 2a is equal to root 2 times x, what is the value of x? Guys, let's multiply a by 2 on the left expression right here. So 2a is equal to 2 times 5 times root 2. And therefore, as given here, that is also equal to root 2x. So 2 times 5 times root 2 is actually 10 times root 2, and that is equal to root 2x. Now let's think about it, guys. We got root 2 and root 2 times x. Well, we can rewrite this, if you know from the exponent rules, we can rewrite root 2x as root 2 multiplied by root x. And so let's do that. 10 times root 2 is equal to root 2 times root x. Now we can cancel root 2 on both sides, so we get 10 is equal to root of x, and therefore we need x to be 100 such that root 100 is equal to 10. So therefore x must be 100. So x is equal to 100 is the correct answer for this question. We are done with the no calculator section. It was not so hard, but it required a lot of thinking and a lot of theoretical knowledge. I truly hope you liked this video, and if you did, then make sure to watch the second part where we are going to solve the calculator section.